Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Brand Builder Show, and great to have two friends back for their second visit to the show. Tom and Alex, welcome back, guys.
Cheers, Ben.
Thanks for having us, Ben.
Here.
No, it's good. You guys were one of the first guests. I think episode 4, maybe from memory. You guys were on, and we were chatting through your journey then to where you were. But things have really kicked on a gear in the last 6 months or so. So we're going to dive into that today, talk through growth on Amazon, launches, PPC agencies, loads of stuff to get into. So for those that didn't actually listen to the first episode, chaps, give us a little bit of a background on who you guys are, your history over the last couple of years, and what you're up to.
Do you want me to take it this time out? Because you
take it away, Tom. Take it away.
So we'll give you the short version. If you haven't heard the other episode, obviously go back and watch it. You can see a bit of an intro. But so I'm Tom. That's Alex. We are the Honest Entrepreneurs on YouTube and all that good stuff. So we partnered up in 2020, essentially, to join together. Alex already had some experience selling on Amazon. I was brand new to it. Launched our first brand in the summer of 2020 in the UK. We actually ended up killing that brand because it wasn't going too well. A bit of a few issues there. Launched a second brand in the States in August 2020, and that one now is our sole focus. And we have recently scaled to $140,000 a month in sales. So it's really taken off since we last spoke. I think last time we spoke to Ben, we were doing around $20,000 a month. So it's really it's really gone up.
Yeah. Yeah. Up and to the right. That's what we like. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely want to talk about, how you guys have done that, because that is quite quick growth. Lots of questions there. But maybe this is something, I think now that this has been really validated, obviously it was validated to some extent when you were doing 20, 30,000 a month, but now, to get to 6 figures a month, that's without wanting to blow sunshine up your backside, that's impressive, right? It's a really good growing brand there. So bring us back to like the research phase for anybody that's wondering what you did to find these products, this niche. What was the research phase that's helped you, because you had one brand that you killed, like you said, and then you started a new one, so maybe there's been something different you've done there that's really helped you identify this. What was it that you've done to help you find this niche, these products?
All down to you, wasn't it, Tom? In the beginning, it was because I think so I originally had the brand that we eventually discontinued, and it was kind of when Tom came on board that we started looking at more things. And I would say like that's one of the benefits of a partnership. I think we spoke a little bit about this last time, so I won't bore everyone again, but just having those fresh eyes made us sort of like look and think, all right, can we start a second brand now? And so we obviously use Helium 10 like most people do. The reason I think Tom originally found this product that eventually led to this brand was we were looking for things that we could really stand out, just in terms of like making a great listing, to be really honest. So we found this product, and at the time there was only really like 2 people selling it. They were terrible at Amazon. Their branding really sucked. And it was like a little bit of a punt. Honestly, I remember the day that we launched it, I think we did 12 sales, and it was Tom pushing it. It was Tom that saw the opportunity, and I was honestly like a little bit skeptical, because I'd already sunk a load of time into the original brand. But that's the beauty of a partnership. I was in enough to trust Tom and his intuition on it. So we ended up like, it was basically like, we know if we launch this product, the numbers make sense. We can really stand out in terms of making a nice looking brand, a really great looking listing. So to be super transparent, we didn't really have that much of a USP. We didn't really have that much of an improvement on the actual product. It was just, there wasn't many people selling it. There was a little bit of demand. I think the one person selling it was doing about $10K a month. So we didn't really have huge hopes. We thought maybe if we can do $6,000-$7,000 a month with a nice profit margin, it'll be a great just addition to the portfolio. We launched it, it went super well, and then that product is now probably our second or third bestseller. That niche since has sort of become saturated. It's like that specific product niche. But yeah, that led to us launching, I think in total we've got seven individual products now, with a couple of them that have got variations. Mm-hmm. And it's all in the same sort of category, and well, so it's all targeting the same demographics. It's the same. A person that would buy one, they would also be interested in another. So we phased out the development of the first brand that I originally started, discontinued that, and then now we've got a pretty decent foundation for a nice looking sort of brand now with a few different products.
So what you're saying is that it's all down to Tom.
I didn't want to say it out loud, but I owe him everything.
Yeah, that's good. Would you say that the fact that they are closely related in terms of the target demographic has helped boost sales across the products?
I would say when the idea of building a brand, which I know you're a big fan of, and so are we. I think it takes a lot of time. So when we launched our second and third product, I think we actually overestimated how much value was in the brand at that point, because in reality, you haven't got a brand, you've got one product on Amazon. So, and you haven't got, we didn't have like an off Amazon presence, and that's something that we're working on a little bit now. But to be honest, we still focus like 99% on Amazon itself. Yeah. So we thought the second product was quite complementary to the first, and we were like, we're going to get so many cross sales here. And then we made like the virtual bundle and that kind of stuff, and we didn't really. Like, we got a few. Like, it definitely helped, but we thought it would be really rocket. I'd say now that we've had, seven, well, I guess 11 SKUs live or something like that. And we had a few products that we've killed as well that haven't worked out. But now I think the branding side of things is actually helping quite a lot. And we've got a bit of an email list that we can blast when we have new products. We've got our name is now known in the space as people, we've got our own copycats now that are coming after us. And we know that we're positioning ourselves as kind of the premium brand in our sub niche. Nice, yeah. So there is now the benefit of that, and I think that's given us the confidence to now target higher price point products because we are the premium guys in the niche. Yeah, nice. That's when you know you've made it right, when your brand shows up in auto suggest on Amazon. The dream. No, that's good. That's good. Talk to us about the products that have worked then versus, you mentioned a couple of products that maybe you haven't continued on with. Has there been big differences between those in terms of maybe research process or the products themselves? What's been the major difference?
I think the biggest thing was the one of the products that we discontinued. I don't know if we did touch on this a little bit in the first interview, but we kind of messed up the FBA fees a little bit. We miscalculated the FBA fees, and then the shipping went up crazy. As you know, in like the back end of 2020, that was a product that we had massive hopes for. We ended up we did like 35 grand in sales, but then discontinued it. And I think that was one of the key learnings for us was we just didn't we missed something out on the fees or whatever, and the fees ended
it was my fault, by the way. So for my good work with finding the niche, it was my fault. I messed
basically
up the fees.
He's back to even now because he did something great and then he messed that up. So, but this was a learning for us in a few different ways, really, because it was like one of the learnings was, if there's two of you, then we need that QA process where Tom just doesn't trust that I've looked at the numbers and they're correct or whatever, because I kind of left all that to Tom, and then just leaving that on one person is you need to have that QA process of proper double checking it. I'm not saying I would have noticed it either, because I think we would have probably overlooked it anyway. But long story short is we thought the fees were going to be, let's say, $6, and they ended up being like $9.50. So it completely killed the margin, and then on top of that, the shipping went up. So now our research process is like, and I know it probably sounds a bit obvious that you should do this, but I think it's a mistake that new sellers make. I definitely made it with my first products. It's like, you need to know literally every single, if there's a cost involved in wrapping the pallets or just all of these tiny little costs, you need to know every single cost. You need to know down to the penny how much it costs you to get that product into Amazon and all your Amazon fees. If you mess that up, it cost us 6 months of time probably, and it cost us, that was our biggest swing at that point. So we invested probably about 10 to 12k into that product, and that was massive to us at the time. We wasted time and we wasted cash. So
the other thing, Ben, as well, that we found that the other product we discontinued recently actually was, we tried to kind of guess that demand was there for another product. So it was a complementary product, and we saw a competitor of ours doing fairly well, but they're a competitor, but they're our enemy. Like, they don't know that we're probably not their enemy, but they're ours. So like they're pretty big time, and they do, they could do up to kind of $500,000 a month, which we definitely think we can catch them now. But they're pretty big time. So they had a lot of fall off traffic, and they were selling this one product pretty well. The numbers were really good for it, like almost the best numbers I think we'd had for a product. Super cheap to make. The price point was pretty decent, but you needed to do real volume, and we launched it. But what we didn't look at properly was there wasn't actually exact searches for the keyword. So for that, what that product was. So they had so many eyeballs going through their store. They were getting a lot of fall off traffic, and that was good. It wasn't like a crazy good revenue wise. I think it's probably only 8 to 12k a month, which is obviously isn't bad. But we thought it'd be nice one to add on top, super easy. But in the end, we got no sales for that product. We sold a couple, but in the end now we just liquidated it because it was a waste of time. And that now is a rule that we set, is there has to be direct search. Keyword searches for the product, and I have to describe it very well. Otherwise, you can't just guess that it will work, because 9 times out of 10 it just won't work.
Yeah, and that's a huge tip for any sort of new sellers doing product research, is identify those keywords that do descriptively describe. They do describe your product accurately, because if they're too generic, then they're not going to be able to find your product. It's going to be a wash of. The conversion rates can be so low, and all those kind of things. So and we found that too, selling toys. Too generic a kind of a descriptive term, and it's hard to get that conversion rate, get any sense of volume. So like you say, they must have been doing something, external traffic, brand awareness from their store. There's something that's causing traffic to come to that product page that's not going to be the traditional keyword route. So huge tip that. Give us some thoughts then on how this growth has taken place, because 20 grand a month to 140 grand a month, that's significant. That's 7x revenue in 6 months. That's crazy quick. B, is it sustainable? Like, give us some background on what's going on. It's exciting, right, on the front end, but give us some insight on the back end.
Yeah, I think it felt for a long time like we were sort of treading water a little bit. Like we weren't not treading water, but like we felt like we weren't making any progress. And this is one of the things about Amazon, is like it's a long process. So like product research, to find a product, you're talking months sometimes, if you don't already have an existing brand and like a roadmap of products. But we were kind of, at the time, I think, even when we spoke to you first time, we were like we were debating, do we focus on this brand? Do we potentially maybe try and broaden the brand a little bit and do some other stuff? What we ended up doing was we just committed to doing that 100%. We had a product roadmap, and we just tightened everything up. We just triple checked all the numbers, and honestly, we just went for it. And I think we had a little bit of an analysis paralysis for a while, where we wanted everything to be perfect. And in the end, we were just like, look, these numbers work out. We know we can launch products. We know we trust our own skills. Let's just go for it. So we ended up ordering, like three different products pretty much within the space of like probably 6 weeks. The peak time for our brand and our niche is, one of the peak times is in the spring. So we aimed to get everything live by latest February. And we were like filling it. We had this like forecast sheet that I was obsessed with, where I was like messaging Tom every night, and I was like putting all the numbers in, and I had like these 3 different scenarios, and the top scenario was about 130k a month. And I was like, Tom, like maybe we can hit this, like. And we at the time we're both like, oh, not really, maybe whatever, like it'd be a nice outcome. Anyway, we got all these products live. Did all of our launches, went through the process, and then demand hit just as we were starting to rank well, and it just went woof. So it was kind of like the perfect storm of we planned it really well. We did all the due diligence. I can never say that word. And it all just sort of came together. We trusted ourselves, we backed ourselves, we make sure we did all the fundamentals well, and and it just gave us this huge confidence. It's given us this huge confidence now that we know the playbook. We know what you need to do. We know it always doesn't work. It's not 100% guaranteed, but as long as you follow the fundamentals properly, and it all comes together at the right time, then you can see, huge growth like that.
Yeah. my first thought when you're saying that 3 products, huge uptick in sales, is just capital, right? Like, how has that been? Have you stayed in stock? What's been that situation?
Yeah, we had so like Alex mentioned, we placed all these orders the back end of last year, so September, October time, November as well. So I think after we spoke, I got married that week, and then went on my honeymoon to Thailand. Alex was also in Thailand, so we met up and
on your honeymoon.
Wow. His missus hated it, but
she was sitting by the pool, and me and Alex were sitting at the bar, like working away.
Muay Thai.
A bit of Muay Thai as well. Embarrassingly, we weren't too good at that, but we kind of were looking at our cash position, and we knew basically the first product, which is our best seller now, that launched in I think October-ish time, and the other two. So basically, that was the one we knew could be amazing, and the other two were lined up, and the numbers checked that. Like Alex mentioned earlier, like the numbers were like the main priority for us now. So when the first launch went well, we had to basically use all of our cash. So we forecasted, and we were like, if we think the demand's going to go where it is, where it looks like from the last couple of years, then our sales are going to, I think it was like 5x from where we were at that point, maybe 6x on that product. So we had to place a huge order, and we did it for that, and we also did it for the new launch products as well. That we knew they could potentially go pretty big straight away. So we ordered 3 months, 3.5 months of stock for each, but taking that kind of RQ4 into account. So we basically used all of our cash. So like it was a risk. Yeah, we forecasted that out, and we left enough cash to be able to place a second order, which obviously everyone should always do, because you're not going to get paid by Amazon straight away. So yeah, it was a gamble, it was a calculated risk, but it was like laying all our cards on the table and just kind of going for it. And then, yeah, it paid off. And now what was good with the forecast that Alex did was we knew when we launched, we go pretty aggressive on PPC, and we don't, the first order, we're not trying to turn a profit straight away.
Yep.
But because these numbers on these products are so good, and they're solid net ROIs, and this is like, the big kind of revelation to everyone, like, the higher the profit and the higher the ROI, the easier it is to grow your business. And that's basically what's happened. So now as we tightened up the numbers, the profit is really good and really healthy. So like the forecast that Alex did, as we reached kind of 130k a month, our actual forecasted profit came true, where the percentages were creeping up because these 3 products became a big part of our pie, and they brought up the overall profit of the business. So that's kind of how it all compiled. And now they're spitting off plenty of cash. So we've now got one more product in design at the minute, a new custom mold, and we have another one in the works that we're literally doing the kind of the 3D CAD designs for now as well.
Yeah, nice. You, I've got quite a few questions on that, but you talked about placing the second order. When did you place that second order? Did you wait until you saw the numbers? Did you place it before it arrived? What was the timing of that?
It's about 2. We usually do it about 2 to 3 weeks in.
Yeah.
So we're quite lucky with some of our products have really, really good lead times. To be honest, the production is pretty quick. One of the roadblocks we have hit, to be honest, though, was where some of the regions were getting shut down in China. Some of our products couldn't get through to ship, and obviously some of the factories shut down as well. So we have had to fly. So we normally ship on like a fast ship. But we've had to start using Matson as an even faster ship. Obviously, it's more expensive, and we had to fly 2 of the SKUs over recently, so they're live at the moment. So yeah, profit did take a hit for that. But for us, not stocking out was a priority over going out of stock and coming in again. So we ate it, and like one of the products now we have like say 700 units. Won't really make much profit, but that's fine. The ones coming on the boat behind them, they will. Yeah. And because the numbers are so healthy and shipping in general has decreased a bit, it means that we'll even out overall, and we'll kind of end up in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, good. And then you talked about profit ROI on those products. People will be listening thinking, geez, it's all right for them. I'm having to cut prices and costs are up and margins are thin. What are you doing different to everyone else?
Charging a higher price. I think it's one of the learnings that we had for sure was just put your prices up. Like we had a product that was at $32.99 for ages, and we just kind of had this like mental block that it wasn't even like a conscious thing. It was just like, oh, that's the price, and most people, the second highest seller was $29.99 for the exact same product almost. So we were already like a few bucks more. And then it was like, well, we're either going to have to discontinue this product or source it cheaper. So we tried everything we could to source it cheaper, couldn't do that. And then we were like, well, we just got to put the price up. So we put the price up from $32.99 gradually up to $37.99. And then it carried on selling. So we were like, obviously like there's some, a little bit of impact on the conversion rate. But overall, like the tag costs and everything just went up, went down, improved. And it was the same with the new product that we launched. Our target price originally was like $24.99. We launched it at like $17.99. Then, because generally we launch it like 30% lower than whatever the target would be or whatever. And then we'd sort of gradually creep it up as we get some reviews and all that. Now we're sat at over $30 on that product because we just kept putting it up $1 for like, we'd put it up $1 for like 3 or 4 days, check the conversion rate, notice there's no difference, so we'd put it up again and put it up again. So some of our products are, overall the business has got a lot healthier. There are some products that are still on the borderline of like, we would really like to see it being healthier, but overall what we've tried to do is we really focus on the quality of the listing. I think it's still a massive thing that you can get as an edge, and you shouldn't really go into something just saying I'm going to make a better listing. For sure, you should always try and actually improve the product, but Amazon is all about perception. If people perceive that your product is of higher quality, and if you've got the reviews to back it up, then they will pay more. It's obvious the price sensitivity changes a little bit based on whatever the niche is. Obviously, some niches are a little bit more price sensitive, but we're in a niche we think where people are looking to buy something perhaps that's a little bit more quality and they're willing to pay more. So we've just basically bumped our prices up, and that's helped us get the higher ROI and numbers basically.
Nice. Yeah. And then on the launches, you talking about lowering your price. What else has been the strategy? Talk to us about launch process, what you've done to get that traction early on.
It's mainly PP. I mean, to be honest with you, we still go really in depth on keywords and a super in depth analysis that we kind of cover every base, and that we've looked at every single word they're relevant for, and then we'll launch and we'll target, we won't target necessarily the hero keywords straight away. We will obviously include them in the listing because you can't really not. But we might not necessarily try and outbid everyone to rank for 50,000 volume keyword because it'll be super expensive. We might not convert, so we'll go for the medium range, all that good stuff, and sensible with the bullet points. Our images, we do put a lot of work into them. Like I think everyone says obviously use professional photographers, which definitely we advise. But on top of that, like I mean, most people use professional photographers now. But they need to be like premium, like real premium angle, and we try and make our images always like the best in the niche. Other than that, to be honest with you, it's the PPC side of things, which I'll let Alex take over on because we go pretty aggressive on that.
Yeah, we've had this a little bit of a debate on Twitter about the use of auto campaigns and stuff like that. It's a strategy that we used to do the same. We used to just launch, stick an auto campaign, do whatever. Since we changed it up now, and we only use exact campaigns. So we have campaigns with a maximum of 5 keywords in there. We never go bigger than 5 keywords anymore. And then the biggest volume keywords. So let's say if our top one has 20,000 volume, we have that in its own campaign, an exact campaign. We'll have it in a sponsored product, but also a sponsored video. So we want to be, sponsored product, and then we want to always be the top video result. And we have proper videos made, like actually showing the product and not just slideshows, like really good videos. So as soon as we launch a product, I always take screenshots and send it to Tom. We have like we have the top sponsored product. You scroll a little bit, and we're the top video. And the way that we do the thumbnails is you can't actually select a thumbnail on a brand ad. So we take a screenshot of the sexiest part of the video, the bit that pops out the most, and the first second of the video we just have as that screenshot. Nice. So when you scroll down, we've had competitors copying us now with some of it, but they never do as good a job as we do. To be really arrogant.
It's a big waste when you see brands do a fade from black because it's just a black.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, it's like, and it was actually Tom. Like Tom was like, I actually put one on it, and he was like, let's get the thumbnail in there, and he said it because I do the PPC is what I mean. So Tom was the one that sort of pointed it out originally, And we did it, yeah, and like you just can't miss. Like the click-through rate is so good on these video ads that we get. So we go very, very specific, and the logic behind not using an auto campaign is we view an auto campaign in the same way as we would view a Facebook pixel. So a Facebook pixel, when it's brand new, it has no data. I mean, it has some data that you give it, like it knows what your site's about, whatever. Yeah. It's the same with Amazon. Amazon only knows the keywords on your page, and it knows the category that you tell it your product is in. Other than that, it doesn't have any sales there. It doesn't have anything. So our logic is that you want to be very focused in the beginning, because if you want to rank highly for those biggest keywords, you need to be very specific and tell Amazon this is exactly what we're specific for, and you want to show us as so. That's kind of where our launch is. I mean, it's not like that's I think a lot of people are doing that now. It's starting to become more of a thing, but that's the strategy that we've taken with everything, and it's worked pretty well so far.
Yeah. I've just on a recent launch, just starting to test single keyword campaigns, and it's like an administrative nightmare, but you get the control over like top of search as well. Which it's crazy to me that top of search is not something you can do on a keyword basis, but yeah, it's I think you do get so much more control, and there's definitely something to be said for the auto campaign, especially now there's so much good data in keyword research that you can eliminate a lot of the you can find what works pretty quickly. You don't have to test it with an auto campaign. I think auto campaigns are just good for finding emerging stuff, real random stuff that maybe you're not thinking of, low volume stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
In terms of building that listing, doing that keyword research, are you doing anything unique? What's your process there?
Sorry, Tom, just to jump in, but there's one point on the listing that I think is really useful that we use is we see it a lot on listing images. So like you hear people talk about like copywriting, and when people talk about copy, generally they talk about the bullet points.
Yeah.
But what I think we do really, really well is we don't waste an opportunity to describe a benefit. So I see this a lot when I'm looking at other listings, because I like spending a lot of time like looking at other listings and stuff. Is you'll scroll to the second image, for example, and the top third of the photo will say product features, and it's such a waste of space. It's like you read it, the customer doesn't get any. Like, okay, they read that and then they go down below, but the amount of space that you have on an Amazon listing is so limited. If you think in terms of like, if you have your own website, you've got so much more room to add text, to images, background images, videos, whatever. We have so many benefits that we want to communicate that we don't even get enough space, because a lot of people don't even scroll to the EBC. So it's all about those 7 images really, or 6 if you have the video. So we try and use every single bit of space to effectively communicate a benefit. So if we know, for example, like if people are searching for non-slip yoga mat, and that's like one of the biggest keywords, our second image, we try and say to each other, like, we want somebody to see this image, and they cannot leave that image without understanding that that's a non-slip yoga mat.
Yeah, good.
And we try and communicate one benefit very clearly in each image. So it's another thing that we see is people, they repeat the same benefits. So you only have a limited number of spots, and then it'll be like non-slip yoga mat, non-slip, and it says the same thing. So I think that's one thing that's really helped us with the conversion rate is, and for us that's a part of copywriting, because the copy on the images I think is 10 times more important than the copy in the bullet points.
Yeah. So you would do your keyword research and write your listing first, and then let that steer your images, or do you do images first?
Yeah, what we'd actually do pretty in depthly is we do the keyword research and obviously look at our top competition and put out all the high relevant keywords, and kind of using software to do that, and then we manually go through as well.
And then we go Cerebro for that, or
Cerebro, and then Keyword Dominator tool, which is exactly. So that's super useful. It's kind of made it a lot faster. But we look really in depth at the reviews as well. So we look at all the questions that have been asked on a listing for our competition, and then also all the 1-star and 2-star reviews, and then also all the 4 and 5-star reviews. I don't tend to look at too much at the 3s because that is what kind of weirdo leaves a 3-star review?
Weirdos, yeah.
So amazing product, 3 stars, mate. Special place in hell for them. But so we'll put it out, and then obviously on Helium, you can look at the most repeated terms in these reviews. Yep. So I'll make a document. I'll pull out the main terms. And then look at obviously the problems that people are facing with these products. That's how we customize our products anyway. So we improve on these problems people are saying, and then we make that the key. We know then that's the key focus. So for the images, we know what the selling point is. So people are giving you the exact information that you need. They're putting it in also in their own words. So there's some terminology that you'll see repeated in the reviews. We'll use that exact terminology in our listing images and in our bullet points, because you're speaking to your exact avatar then in their own language. That's been super useful. I think it's something that I think a lot of people know, but it's putting it into practice. And like Alex said, I think people just they almost overcomplicate it. They want to stuff all of their features into this one little image. And when you see like even a comparison table, you might see like 15 things lined up, and like a lot of people have got bad eyes, they can't actually even see, see the text. So treat people like they're 10-year-olds and just give them that like one heavy benefit. The bullet points, I think you definitely want to make them catchy and put a good hook in, especially for the first 2, I'd say. You want the first couple of words to be really catchy. But realistically, I don't think that many people read all the bullet points. I think you go images, you go reviews, and you go images, reviews, maybe video, and then even like the title. I don't think people read past the first 5 words of the title, to be honest. So you can really optimize that and optimize it with exact match keywords. Chuck a few exact match keywords into your bullets as well. I think you got to play the game. So I don't think the Amazon algorithm is as smart as Google yet. So you can definitely still keyword stuff. Keep it readable, but you can definitely still stuff it a little bit. All that kind of combined, it puts you in a really good position to confidently have the best listing in your niche, and then sales kind of generally follow, and you kind of guaranteed to get at least a decent return.
Definitely. Yeah, that's good, man. Just circling back on those tools, so obviously Helium 10 is one that pretty much everyone will know about. Obviously, we'll talk about Keyword Dominator in a minute, because that's one that maybe less people have heard of. Also, have you guys looked at Data Dive, Brandon Young's one?
I've had a brief look at it. Watched all the tutorials. By all accounts, it's great. We know it is kind of a more advanced quite a bit more advanced version, I think, than Keyword Dominator. But we've not personally used it. But
they're doing similar functions, though, I imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From what I've spoken to a few people that use it that really like it. I think it's fairly similar, to be fair. For us, we just obviously we work with Adam now as well, so that kind of goes hand in hand, that we use his suite of tools. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. I'm pretty sure because Claire, my business partner, writes our listings. I'm pretty sure she uses the because I saw Adam do a video on the Keyword Dominator thing, and I sent it over to her, and I think she uses that now. So it's like Cerebro's great, but there's definitely more you can do with that data. Hey.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it just makes it way faster as well. I think the old method was really good. It gave you kind of the same kind of information, but it's now kind of 10 times as fast to do it through the tool.
Yeah. For sure. No, good stuff. Cool. Well, obviously conscious of time, just want to try and get a couple more questions in. You guys have recently been using a PPC agency, which is a hot topic. Give us some thoughts on why you decided to go that route, and how you're finding the journey.
Yeah, I mean, it came about really because we're getting to the point in the business now. We're getting to the point that we're really valuing our time over anything. Like, once you get to a certain point, like your time becomes way more valuable, and in general, we're trying to outsource as much as we can. So especially this week, we're trying, looking at training a couple of VAs to handle admin and logistics and all that sort of stuff, which we probably should have done a lot sooner. But on the PPC side, I started to get to the point where I was doing all of the PPC, and I started to get to the point where I wasn't really finding it fun anymore, and I realized if I wasn't finding it fun, I was not going to do it properly. And I started to feel like I was getting a bit lazy with it. I would not look at it as often as I probably should have done, and then I'd look at it and I'd be like, oh. So it was still going well. We had great ACOS all the time. Like there was no like major sort of things that it wasn't like we had like 150% ACOS and we were like, we need someone to fix this. It was just we just really wanted to free up some of my time and then see if we could do the improvements. So we started with an agency probably about 5-6 weeks in now. The experience has been I don't know, I think when you've been doing PPC for like 2-3 years, you get to a level and you're probably pretty good at it. So then outsourcing it to someone else, you've got really high standards. The ACOS has the TACOS has come down. So our main KPI that we gave to them, that we wanted them to improve, we were like, just improve the TACOS. Like at the time, it was around, because we'd launched the 2 new products, it was around 20% TACOS. Previously, it was around 14% for all of the products. So we wanted to get that as low as possible. So we gave them that target, and I think at the moment they've got it down to like 16%, I think. So it's going in the right direction. And it's obviously great that I don't have to like go in there every day and like, you know, check on everything. And
no, he's a full-time YouTuber now. Have you not noticed, Ben? Yeah.
I don't do anything on FBA anymore. I just do YouTube. The decision was, do we go with a software? So we were going to go with a software called Perpetua. And then at the same time, somebody said to us, like, have a chat with this agency. The agency actually used Perpetua. And the difference in price was about $1,000 a month. So at the minute you pay 10% of spend. So we spend on average, like, at the moment we're probably spending about $800 a day, maybe a bit less. So it's costing us about, like this month it's probably going to cost us about $2,300. And Perpetua alone would have been about $1,400. So wow. we were kind of like, well, it's another $1,000, but I don't have to do anything. I just have to kind of check in maybe once a week and just get them to send me the KPIs and have, keep high level management of it. So I was like, well, it kind of makes sense. So yeah, we ended up going with the agency. And I think we're going to do like 3 months and then kind of assess. But I think we will always outsource it for sure. But one of the things that I think potentially we might do is just hire a freelancer to do it. Like I think you could probably hire a freelancer and say like, look, I want you to dedicate, I don't know, like 10 hours a week. And if you work out what the cost, you can pay them $50-$60 an hour. And it'll be about the same as the agency. And my hunch with these agencies, and not just anything specifically with this agency, is that they hire as many people as they can, and obviously they're trying to optimize the profits. But I feel like each person at the agency that's managing an account, they probably have 10 accounts that they're managing. Yeah. So I think maybe they just have too much work sometimes, and not to say that wouldn't be the case with a freelancer, but we want to kind of test both, I think. So maybe we'll do a few months with the agency and then maybe, work with a freelancer. And
you're sticking to this honest entrepreneur mantra, aren't you? Laying it all out there.
If you're watching this, if you want to reduce the bill by about 25%, we might do it longer than 3 months.
Just going to tag them in the... I think, because I think obviously, ultimately, the dream's in-house, right? Someone that's dedicated, knows your brand, knows your stuff, but that's a big commitment. Yeah. And so I think agency is a good transition. It's just how long that transition, would take.
Yeah, and I in the past when I've worked full time, in my last couple of jobs, is that would generally be what we'd do. We'd hire an agency. We knew it was going to be expensive. We'd pay them $10K a month. You do it for like 3 to 6 months, and then you learn from what they've done, and you bring it in house, and you reduce the cost by half or whatever. But you need to kind of get that experience of doing it. But one of the things that we just want more. We want more proactiveness, I think, is what we're not really seeing with the agency at the moment. Is we want somebody, like you said, who knows the brand. We want somebody to be like, look, I'm going to test all of these. I'm going to test all of these brand ads on this specific set of keywords. I'm going to monitor the organic ranks. Going to do all of this, and we didn't really get that. And I'm trying to push more of that, but we're not really getting it. And I think that's just because they probably don't really have the time to do that. So by no means is it been terrible. It's just it's up in the air still whether or not we'll be a long-term sort of like user of agencies, but so far it's been a positive experience in the fact that we've saved a lot of time for sure.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's good. I mean, that's obviously honest feedback, but it's good. I think helpful for people that there are some goods, there are some challenges that you need to work through. So yeah, good insight, I think. In terms of then the next stages of growth, you've kind of hit these numbers. you guys are just going to chill out, right? You're just happy with those numbers, just to carry on like that. No point in growing it anymore. Or
people might have seen this on another interview. Alex, the day we hit 100k in a month, so we kept like breaking all of our records, and records are for DJs, as they say. But we were getting pretty excited, or I was anyway. And then Alex texted me a screenshot saying, "We've hit 100k," and he's like, "And I feel nothing." And it just motivated us to do more. And now, yeah, I mean, it's been great hitting it, but immediately, yeah, we're planning ahead. So we had to make a decision strategically. We can either try and extend. Obviously, we want to get a great average throughout the year. We'd probably have peaked now for this season, to be honest. We're trying to, these new products that we've got in the works, we're looking to launch them kind of September, October time, a few of them. And our target now is to go for next spring, so our next Q4, we want to triple. So we want to get up to kind of 350 grand a month kind of area. And then in off season, we still want to be putting in, 60, 70, 80 grand a month. So that's what we're working towards now. The other option for us was, we looked at some products that will actually do really well in real Q4, so in the winter. We decided for now, I think that might be the next, maybe a 2023 move.
Yeah.
Just because, we haven't got unlimited capital, so we had to kind of make that decision. And that's one of the kind of, you really want to keep those numbers high. And even now, when we've dropped from, say, 6K a day to like 4.5K a day, it like hurts, to be honest. Like you kind of think, what's gone wrong? And it's not. It's still really good, but you've got to be. This is the long-term goal. We want to sell the business within a couple of years, so we know that it's not a race. And we can now sit and kind of consolidate everything for the next few months, but at the same time get everything planned. Go for that kind of massive swing next spring, which we're now, after this one, we're even more confident, and the new products we've got in the works we think are going to be bigger than anything that we've done before. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of where we are now. We're planning that out, but like you have to do in any physical products game, like we're literally looking at, you've got to be so far ahead. We're looking at 6 to 12 months ahead at all times, and we're forecasting that out, working backwards from our goal now of an exit. But I think even since we last spoke, to be honest, our goals have gone bigger. We're now thinking, we want to go late 7 figures if we can. I mean, it'd be amazing to go to 8 figures. We know a few people that have had 8-figure exits, and that's you're kind of a pretty exclusive club if you get up there. So that'll be if next spring goes well, I'm sure we'll probably move the goalpost again, and we'll say 20 million. But we'll see. We'll see.
What have you got sort of timelines that you're working towards for that?
I think we kind of roughly said we're at the point now where it's like it's the balance between. Tom and I have been working on this for a couple of years, and like we've chatted about with you, Ben, a little bit before about like these are cash intensive businesses. Like if you get into building a private label brand, FBA, whatever, you got to realize that like people see, okay, you're doing 25k a month in profit, but like we haven't taken a wage from this business since day one. We've taken a little bit here and there, like just whatever, but it's not the sort of business that you build and you're like cash rich, because if you want to continue growing, you've got to pump all of that cash back in. So it's kind of a balance where we're looking at it as in, do we want to put maybe like another 18 months, 2 years into it, whatever level it's at that point, we want to maybe sell it, take some chips off the table, maybe, invest in some property, do whatever in terms of like life investments and all that sort of stuff. Or is it going to be like Tom said, we'll get next year, we'll do 350k a month or whatever, and then we still see even more progress on the horizon, and we're like, well, no, like we may as well continue. So I think roughly what we've said is like we'd like to have 2 more big springs. So like next spring we want to be doing like 3x what we're doing now, hopefully. And then the same the spring after, and then by that point we should have like 2 years of really, really solid books, really great sort of foundations, products with good reviews, some custom products in there. So hopefully by the end of like 2024, we'd be in a position where actually the brand and the company is very attractive to somebody trying to buy it. So I think at that point, if we could, our goal was, to make 7 figures each. So I think if we could try and get it to that point, I think it would be very tempting. But then, as I said, it kind of depends, overall how we kind of feel with it. But
I'll tell you what we also did. We forgot to say, we also got another brand in the works. So we This was Alex. Alex was trying to get me back for the finding this one. So he found this opportunity, which looks really good, to be honest. And it's a massive. It's a bigger space. It's a more competitive space.
Yeah.
But because now, like Alex mentioned earlier, because we know the playbook, so we're not in a race to launch that one. We're kind of doing a bit of research and development at the minute. We're working with a designer to custom produce it.
Nice.
So with that will depend on cash flow as well, and where we sit and what kind of opportunity we look at. But it's quite nice now taking a bit of breathing room. It's not a race to put that one live. It's a case of we want to make it perfect. But that one has a potentially like a much higher price point as well, which we definitely like, because there's a bit less competition up there with the higher price points, and obviously the ROI and the margins are a lot higher as well.
Yeah, definitely. Exciting times. And then from like a content perspective, you guys are, doing a great job of educating people in the space about the reality of, a private label brand. What's the next season looking like for you guys as the honest entrepreneurs?
Yeah, we're trying to, as Tom said, like I'm basically a full-time YouTuber now. No, but,
1,000 subscribers is what you want next, Ben. We're still not there yet.
Yeah, I mean, since we started it, obviously the origin of the brand was we were kind of like tired of seeing all these, just people that were just not being very truthful about it. And the people that we gravitated towards when we first started were the people that we could trust and we thought were being truthful. And then even a couple of those people ended up not really actually being very truthful. So that was where it all came about. So like we've been mentoring a few people, but that has really we can only mentor so many people because we want to give everybody individually enough time and everything. So, we're building up, we're trying to build up the personal brand again with the transparency, because, it's great in terms of keeping you on your toes. Like if we have to research videos, we have to vocalize all of our strategies, everything that we're doing. So it's great to keep us sharp.
Yeah.
Also keeps us, we're always looking at what other people are doing. So it's amazing for our own business, but generally we're getting a lot out of like really helping people. Like it's a unique experience in the sense that like you get people that are like 20 years old, they message you out of the blue, and we're just happy to help people because we want to be around people that inspire us and that push us to do more, and that when we speak to them we get this sense of energy and they're whatever. So it's been amazing to like network with you and all the people on Twitter and everything, and then it's just led to us wanting to do more content, wanting to increase the personal brand. And then honestly, again, transparency is like multiple income streams are super important as an entrepreneur. And
sure.
If you build up a personal brand, you can monetize the personal brand really well. And I think it's something that people avoid talking about it because it's like this shameful secret of, oh, you want to make money by teaching people how to do Amazon. And it's like, yeah, because we know what we're doing and we're confident about that, and you're going to get a return on it. So we're pretty transparent about it. And
people always go, they're like, oh, you can't be doing that well if you're not paying yourself a big wage.
Yeah,
like, because you want to grow the business. That's the whole point.
Yeah. So when we're making 25k in a month, it's not like 12.5k to Tom, 12.5k to me. Let's go to the Maldives and treat the partners. It's that money goes back into the business, and then you've got a set of skills that are in demand. People are reaching out proactively; they want to learn from you. And in this sea of people that are kind of like snake oil salesmen, a lot of people, I think it's people gravitate towards people that are actually doing it and telling the truth. And so that's why we're ramping up we're really enjoying Twitter. We've met so many cool people on Twitter. We were in London recently. We've obviously had a few chats with you and just people that you've got a lot in common with. So just us starting to do that side of it has had so many benefits overall for us. Yeah.
I can't believe when you said it keeps us on our toes, you didn't say it keeps us honest. That was such an easy layup. Come on.
As entrepreneurs, it keeps us honest. Yeah.
Edit it in, Ben. Edit it in.
But I think to add to that as well, though, so we went to London to meet we were around the Seller Sessions event, the Danny McMillan event, which was really cool. So we literally met people we're like friends with these people on the internet. Yeah. We got we got WhatsApp group chats with some of them, and we never met them in person, but then we met them and we just straight away you're already friends, So went to the pub, you have a good chat about you talk shop, you talk about Amazon, because most of your friends, like most of my friends here, don't care about Amazon. They might care about like they see the odd big number you flash up on Twitter, and they think when we got to 100k a month, I'm getting messages, like, oh, you're making 100 grand a month. I'm like, yeah. Like now they're interested. They want to teach me how to do it. But what we did as well, I guess, a pretty big step for us. We're now kind of pretty heavy affiliated with Adam, like Adam Heist on YouTube. So that was that was something that we people might have seen the interview on his channel with us, but we kind of reached out to him and just kind of a bit of a cocky move, but ended up working out. So he's now got an equity stake in our business, which is great, kind of twofold, to be honest. One, because he's already sold a brand for 7 figures, and he's connected with an aggregator as well. So we know he's walked the path, so we kind of can follow his playbook, and he's really helping us out in terms of us leveling up, and that's all kind of also added to the growth for sure. And we're looking at some retail options with him as well to get into some stores in the States, which is like, it's funny because it's kind of like, it's really sexy. You imagine your product on the shelves in like a random store in the States, and that feels like a bigger achievement than Amazon, but like it's not really. Like, Amazon's still going to be the main breadwinner.
It'll make you way less sales, but it'll be really cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you can go in there and make a TikTok and show off, but it's not that effective. But I think as well for our kind of personal side of things, like we met up with him in London, and like Alex says, people that align with your views, and for us, like, went on his channel, that gave us a good platform to get some more eyeballs on us, and he's happy to help us out. We're happy to help him out. So yeah, all these people kind of coming together, and like Alex said, working with people that share similar values. We've got this kind of abundance mentality of like, if there can be more people like yourself and ourselves in the space, then it will give people a realistic view of the business model, and it won't. Yeah. It might put off some people who think it's a get quick rich scheme, but like realistically, how often do they work? You want people that want to start a real business, then listen and watch the right people in the space. There's enough of us around that are spouting the truth now. If more of us can come out, then it can only be a good thing for the space.
Yeah, defo. No, that's good, man. That's good. We'll obviously leave a link to all of your stuff. People can find you, The Honest Entrepreneurs, on YouTube, and we'll leave socials and stuff below. Quick question before we do sign off on that, because I think people will be interested. You talk about him having an equity stake in your business. How have you managed that? I assume like there's been like obviously you don't have to talk about details you don't want to talk about, but like a capital investment for a percentage of the business. And then what's his involvement in the business? Is it silent partner? Is it active? How's that working?
Yeah, so it's kind of on a smart equity basis. So it's not a huge percentage that Adam has, but now he's obviously sort of got he's got a percentage, and it's on a strategic level. So we basically chat with him most days, but it really helped us out originally because we were going around in circles, or it felt like we were a little bit, because we were only really speaking to each other. So now Adam is kind of like our, he's like a full-time consultant for us, basically. So any part of the business that we need that extra opinion on, we lean on him for some sort of resources with some of the stuff that he's already doing. Yeah. So it's like adding a third person that's got even more experience than we have. And on one hand, obviously, we've given up a little bit of equity in the actual business, but we believe the return overall that we'll get is going to be tenfold what we've given away. Sure. So yeah, it's been great, and it's been really great in terms of, it really gave us a lot of confidence when we sat down with him and showed him the plans and showed him all of this stuff that, he's got a lot of experience. He's been there, he's done it. He's one of the leading people in the industry, and there was a lot of it. He was just like, yeah, you're doing the right thing. Even that in itself was huge for us and gave us a big confidence booster. And
I think because he's very much into like SOPs, which when you start an Amazon business, it's not top of mind. You kind of just muddle through, and since we worked with him, we've kind of tightened that up in a lot of areas, and now we're kind of plugged into his team as well. So we work with his couple of VAs and a few other people in his team that are super knowledgeable. So it's just helping us level up. And once you get to this kind of scale that we're at now, I think it's fine margins, right? You can squeeze a couple of % here and there. That makes a big difference when you're moving a big money through the business. So it's all these things added together over time. They really compound. And I think where we're going to end up, like Alex said, having him on board. We've also got, I think we said in the last interview, we sold equity last year as well for cash. So we sold 10% of the business. So we've still got a decent chunk each. We don't want to slice ourselves too thin and make it difficult for us both to walk away with 7 figures. But it's been the same process every time. When Alex joined with me, it was because we saw a bigger pie. Then we did it last year. We saw a bigger pie again. We've done it again with Adam. So it's like the third time, I guess, for Alex that he's done that. And it's a mental block, because you want to own as much as possible. But 40% of 10 million is more than 40% of 1 million. So that's kind of how we're looking at it.
Yeah.
Is it?
No, I get what you're saying. What you can do with those connections and with that is much bigger than you could ever do without it. So I think there's definitely wisdom in that, for sure. Good stuff. All right. Well, we've been chatting for nearly an hour now. It's like I feel like I could ask so many more questions and loads we haven't covered. The VAs, the SOPs, the custom molds, the designs, loads there that I'm wanting to ask about, but we'll be here all day if we do that. So
if the fans want us on for part 3 in a few months, maybe we can come back on.
Our 6 months.
They might be sick of us.
We'll have to vote with the downloads. So that's good. That's good. So obviously YouTube to find you guys. We'll leave that in the description. Anything else you want to add? Any sign-offs you want to give before we go?
Never stop dreaming, kids.
Believe in yourself.
If you can believe it, you can achieve it. All right. Good stuff. We should all be American. Anyway, it's been great to have you guys on. Excited to see the journey unfold, and hoping that it continues to go up and up and up.
Thanks for having us, Ben.
Thanks for having us on.
No worries. Good stuff, guys. Thanks for joining us on this episode of the show. Definitely check out all that Tom and Alex are doing, Twitter, YouTube, all that good stuff. And we'll look forward to seeing you in the next episode real soon.